All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about having a recruiting mindset to attract top talent, recruiting mindset to a top track talent and to grow your team and yourself. Okay, so we're going to first talk about the characteristics and just the overall mindset that you have with building your agency. Okay, so the overall mindset that you need to have with growing and building your agency. Okay, so starting off, guys, just look at our agency. And I know a lot of people in Davenport agency, Brian Glazinski, Todd Stiles, Zach Tolbert, they're all personal recruits. In our agency, we got a lot. Darius Ramsey, Matt Schwartz, Brandy Graham. I'm looking on our wall over here. Ryland Lovejoy, he was a personal recruit. Chris Cannon, who just started, he was a personal recruit. Alice Guthrie, Justin Timmons, they both hit Puerto Rico. They both started in Q3. They're both personal recruits, right? So guys, we have half of our recruits in Q3 were personal/direct recruits. They were people that we either met out in the field or people that we met friends of friends. Okay, so I want you guys to have the same opportunity and attracting top talent. So number one, for your recruiting mindset, you just need to be grateful for the opportunity that you have. Just be very grateful. You're not working in corporate America right now. Holy smokes. And there's a couple non-negotiables that you have to do because each day you can go and write policies, which is unbelievable. Great way to make a great income for yourself and your family. But building a team takes it to the next level. If you want to grow generational wealth for yourself and for your family, for your kids and your grandkids, that's what growing a team will do for you. You can make a great living protecting families. But if you want to grow generational wealth, you will need to get into leadership and skill yourself up to get into leadership. It's also fun. It's a lot more fun when you go to Puerto Rico, when you have one or two people on your team that also hit Puerto Rico. You can go have like a little team dinner. I know tonight, Minnie Dillon's having a little team dinner at Kickback Jacks, and she's going to have, about 5 or 7 of her team members that she's recruited that's going to be there. Some of them haven't even started yet. And I'm going to be attending that with her. And that's fun. When you go to a NFL game, bring your team members there. It's exciting, guys. When you go to the national sales meeting, you got 3 of your agents in Dallas, Texas next year at our national sales meeting, which is where it's going to be for next year. It's fun going there with people that you brought on board. You can also grow your team with your agency, putting somebody on your team, but that's not always guaranteed, right? If you want to guarantee yourself success, you can grow your own team. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the top 6 qualities that we look for in an agent. So this is essentially what I look for in somebody whenever I'm growing a team. Okay, number one quality and characteristic that I look for is somebody who's very good with people. So when you're out there in the field, you need to be looking for people who's very good with people. Okay, somebody's very good with people. That's number 1. Number 2 is somebody who's upbeat. We look for people who are very upbeat in this business. Enthusiasm sells in this business. Number 3, somebody who's very confident. You got to be confident in yourself to be successful here. Number 4, somebody who's extremely driven, somebody who works hard, somebody who's like unusually driven. Okay, we are not going to micromanage here. I am not going to call people every morning to motivate them to get out to work. That is not what I'm ever going to do. So you have to be driven yourself and have your solid morning routine already laid out. So somebody who's already got driven, who has high goals for themselves, got big visions, big goals for themselves. Number 5, somebody who is teachable and coachable. Now, you won't know just by first meeting somebody if they're teachable or coachable. Okay, we usually don't know that until they're actually working here, right? But look for somebody who's very teachable, coachable. But you can look at things that they've done prior, and if they've excelled at prior things, that will definitely show you that they're a coachable type person. If they played sports and they were the captain, they were like a top producer wherever they were prior to this. Doesn't matter if it was sales or, working in the medical industry, it doesn't matter. Okay. But somebody who's a student of the game and wants to get better. And the last thing, number 6, is somebody who has an ownership mindset. Somebody who just knows that they're worth a lot more than what they're currently making. Somebody who's willing to sacrifice right now so they can be successful. They want to run their own business. They want to make their own decisions. They don't want to work for corporate America. They want to grow something that when they leave, it's going to be there for their family for the rest of their life. Somebody who has an ownership mindset and they know that they're worth more than they're currently making right now. So those are the 6 essentially qualities and characteristics that we kind of look for in somebody. And what Brian Ross talked about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, whenever we talked on this conference call, is start off with your chicken list. People in your personal network that you're scared to talk to. Write down those people right now. Write down 5 people that if you had 5 tickets to your favorite concert or to the Super Bowl, if you had 5 tickets available, who would you bring? Okay, who would you bring if you had 5 tickets to the Super Bowl? Okay, when we're going to, whether it's Puerto Rico or wherever our Q3 trip is next year, or Dallas for the national sales meeting, who are 5 people that you want to be there with you? Who are 5 people that you're like, man, I would love to work with this guy. He's a stud. And they may be better than you. You may be scared to talk to them. It's okay. Okay. Your first recruits in this business should always be people that you know. They don't have to be your best friend, but people that you know. And if you're brand new to this agency, if you're within, 3 to 6 months, you have a huge network. You have a huge pool of people that you have no idea. They have no idea what this career is about. And you should be excited to at least share the opportunity with them. So do not be timid with sharing the opportunity. And some of you guys may be thinking, I'm not good enough yet to start training my team. That's okay. You don't have to train them. Your trainer, who's a top producer, can be their trainer as well. But you can still get credit for the direct recruit. And you'll still get, obviously overrides as well. But the biggest thing is building that culture, guys. We have a very tight-knit culture here. It's all about growth, all about advancement, being the best version of yourself, staying on a good schedule, right? Pumping each other up, right? It's very electric. So don't be scared to invite people in that culture. You got invited here. Why not invite other people as well? Don't just hold it to yourself. Okay. So again, we're looking for confident, upbeat people who are very good with other people who also love what they do. When you talk to somebody who just loves their job, they could be working there or just a buddy who currently loves what they do. That's people that we look for, because if you talk to somebody who hates their job, they're just probably a negative Nancy, right? We want to talk to people who love what they do, because if they love what they currently do, imagine if you put them here, they're going to extremely love what they do here. With the culture that we have, it's unmatched. We have a phenomenal culture. We also look for people who are very good at what they're currently doing. People who are very good at what they're currently doing is a key characteristic that we also look for. They've done well. Okay, whether it's sports, current job, whatever it was. And also people that just kind of give you that pit in your stomach that they're just going to do well here. Like when you just shake their hand, you just look at them, you're like, man, that person would do very well selling supplemental insurance with Globe Life Family Heritage. You just kind of get that pit in your stomach. They just kind of give out that vibe. And we all get that feeling, whenever you meet that, somebody like that. So those kind of people also do well here. Okay. So now we're going to talk about how to approach those kind of people. We're going to talk, because everybody needs a one-liner. When you're walking into a business, we have a 35-page sales talk. Okay. We all have our break in the ice. Hey, how are you doing? How's your day? How long have you been here? Okay. Well, guess what? I'm going to give you guys your one-liner that you need for recruiting. I'm going to give you guys a couple examples of some one-liners. You can pick whichever one that you want. And just know, guys, we are very selective, Van and I, in the interview process. Out of about 30 people that run through our interview system, only about 1 or 2 actually get hired. So believe me, you can feed me all the recruits you want. I promise you, I'm only going to select the top of the top. So we're not going to hire everybody. We're very selective because we want to keep our culture tight. And that's why we're up 71% for the year, is because we hire very good people and we sell an economy-proof product. It doesn't matter what the economy is doing. Our product is going to be needed next year, the year after that. It doesn't matter what's going on with the pandemic, the economy, doesn't matter. And we hire very good people because that's how we keep our culture tight, is we're very selective. So you can feed us all the prospects you guys want. we're still going to be very selective and make sure that we only hire very good people who are going to be good fits for the agency. Okay, so whenever you approach somebody, the whole purpose is very similar to selling insurance. The whole goal of an approach is to get them to sit down or just be open-minded to what you're doing, not to recruit them. That's not the goal, is to recruit them. Just like when you're first walking into a business, your goal in the approach is not to sell them supplemental insurance. It's just to get a sit down, just to get them a quick open-minded so you can actually talk more about it, just to get to the introduction. Your goal is to get a sit down with them. Just like when you're recruiting, your goal is to either get the sit down or just get them open-minded to getting more information about what we do. Okay. And you can even tee it off to your agency owner or to your manager so they're open-minded to having a good conversation with them. Okay. I'm going to tell you what not to do when you're field recruiting in the field. These are a couple of things not to do. Don't puke over the prospect. Don't puke over the prospect. So what I mean by that is don't give them all the details. Don't tell them everything. Just like if you go into a business and you're selling insurance and you tell the person that you're selling supplemental insurance, supplemental benefits, supplemental coverage, return of premium, how many times do those people actually buy? They never buy, right? The same thing here. Do not puke and tell them there's a reason why in the approach, when you first walk into business, there's nothing about insurance, supplemental coverage, is because it doesn't work in the first approach or second or third or fourth. That's why I don't really even see that supplemental coverage until deep into the introduction. There's a reason. So don't puke all over them. Don't tell them everything up front. Number two thing, what not to do when you're recruiting people out in the field or friends of yours, don't talk about commission or all the details of how we get paid. That's my job. That's your field director, market, regional, or your agency owner. That's what we do, because I can explain it a lot better. That is exactly what we do. And that's what the video is for as well. It'll explain it in a very professional way. I know that talking about how the commission works to somebody is very sensitive topic, but it's also very technical. So that's exactly what we do. Okay. And also don't talk too much about the whole lead system, how we call on prospects. Yeah, we see everybody. I just say we see everybody. Our products are very unique, but they're custom tailored to fit anybody's needs. We see everybody in the community. That's what I say. Do we do cold calling? Yes, but we also work a ton of referrals, enrollments. We have a CRM. We have everything. Let us explain that during the interview process with that person. But we see every single person. Okay. So here's a couple one-liners that you can say. So when you're actually out in the field, or if you're at a barbecue and you got a buddy right there, let's say that you're at a Panthers game this weekend and you're at a barbecue, you see you're drinking a cocktail with a sharp guy and you're like, hey man, do you see yourself working there forever? That's a great one-liner. If you're in the field or you're just having a conversation with somebody, that is my favorite one-liner. Do you see yourself working there forever, or is that more of a temporary job? Do you see yourself retiring from here? Do you see yourself retiring from there or here? If you're in the field, do you see yourself retiring from here? Have you ever thought about being in sales? If you're talking to somebody, they're sharp, they're say like a mechanic, whatever it may be, like, hey man, you ever thought about being in sales? That's another good one-liner. Is this your forever career, or is this more of a temporary job? So there's a few one-liners that you guys can choose from. You can change it up, but guys, there's just some great one-liners to get the conversation started. And then whatever they say, it doesn't matter what they say. Here's your next couple sentences. Okay. Well, Brad, my company's hiring sharp, driven people who want to grow and advance in their career. This may or may not be a fit for you, man, but I think that you would do well, as you're very upbeat and you make me laugh. Give them a compliment. You're very upbeat. You got a great smile. You're very personable, or you're funny. I can tell you're very confident. Would you be open to hearing more about what I do? That's the closing statement. Just like, do you have a place where we can sit down in the first approach to selling insurance? The closing line with recruiting is, would you be open to hearing more about what I do? That's called the getting to sit down. in the recruiting game? Would you be open to hearing more about what I do? That's a very important line right there. So I'm going to repeat that. So, okay, well, Brad, my company's hiring sharp, driven people who want to grow and advance in their career. This may or may not be a fit for you, man, but I think that you would do well at this, as you're very personable, and I can tell that you've done very well with your past job. You've definitely grown up the career track. Would you be open to hearing more about what I do? Okay, that's what you say to a sharp person. That's the original approach. Okay, and let's say, guys, that you're out in the field or you're talking to somebody and they're not the sharpest person. So I promise you, you're going to meet people today that you don't want to recruit. You're going to meet people in the field that you're like, I would never recruit this person, but they're nice and you've got a little bit of time. This is what you say to, it's called recruiting through them. So if you, let's say that they've been living in that same town for their entire life. They may not be a good fit, but they may know other people that may be a good fit for your team. This is what you say in that situation. Well, Brad, we're looking for some big players here in Shelby, North Carolina. That are hustlers and who want to get paid what they're worth. This may or may not be a good fit for you, Brad, but who do you know who is really good at what they do, who's really good with people? Who do you know that makes everybody laugh? Who do you know that's super successful at what they do? Who do you know that's the most competitive person that, who's the most competitive person that you know? Who do you know that really needs to, earn a higher income? Who do you know that, that's advanced in their career? Like who's the most successful person that you know, right? And once you kind of lay those little questions on there, then you kind of summarize that by saying, yeah, so we're hiring out here and I can't guarantee them a job, but I can definitely guarantee them a first interview. Who do you know? We're hiring out here. I can't guarantee them a job, Brad, but I can definitely guarantee them, an interview or a conversation with us. Who do you know? You guys, people will be like, hey, my younger brother just graduated college from Chapel Hill. He's looking for a big job here in Shelby, North Carolina. Can't find anything. Boom. Yeah. Give me his name and number right now. Close, be assumptive, name down to your iPad, look straight down to your iPad. Oh, cool. What is his name? Cool. What's his number? Let him know I'll be reaching out to him. Let him know that we'll be reaching out to him. People will give you names, guys. Okay. So let's kind of shift gears here to the introduction part of recruiting. This is going to be very short and sweet, but when you have somebody who wants to get more information, let's say that you're at that barbecue, you're talking to a stud guy, and they're like, hey man, I don't see myself working at, Verizon Wireless. I've been the branch manager there for 3 years and I'm capped out at 65 grand. And, I may make 75 grand next year, but man, I need to, I know I'm worth more than that. Let's say that you're having a good conversation with them. They're like, hey, so tell me a little bit more about, about this gig, tell me a little bit more about this. This is the content of what your introduction should sound like. This is the content of what it should kind of look like. So here's some bullet points. So number one, talk about what you were doing before this career. Talk about what you're doing before this. So if you were a paramedic, tell them, yeah, I was actually a paramedic before this. I was working at Medic right here in Charlotte, yada, yada, yada. Just give them information about what you're doing. I was actually writing college before this. This is my first big boy job I've ever done. So just tell them a little bit about yourself and where you came before this. I was a firefighter for 10 years before this. I was a teacher for 12 years, wherever it may be. Number two thing to talk about is why you came here in the first place. Why you decided to come here, a little bit of your backstory on your decision to choose us. Yeah, I actually came here because I was a teacher for 12 years before this. And I came here because I wanted to, for one, definitely earn more money, but also still make an impact, because I know teachers definitely make an impact, but I definitely wanted to continue making an impact in a different way. And, but also build generational wealth for myself and my family. And also just the culture, man. Like I came here because the guy that recruited me was, really, he was just an awesome guy. And I met some of his team members and they were the kind of people that I want to hang out with. I want to be successful in a business and hang out with people that I like and trust. And I just love the culture. The products were amazing, whatever it may be. Tell them why you came here in the first place. That's number two. Number three thing to talk about in the introduction is what's helped you do well here so far. What has helped you be successful? And yeah, man, I've only been here for 3 weeks, but man, I've got some great training done so far. I was in Sales Academy. And then I've got, about 5 or 6 days out there with my trainer, and we've done well. We've already protected, 15 or 20 families. And I've got 5 enrollments already set up, and all the training that they have hands-on on Zoom and in person has definitely helped me do well. I can call anybody at any time and pick their brain on what's helping them be successful. And it's helped me get my business off the ground. Whatever it may be, you may be like, hey, my trainer, Brandy Graham, has been a huge help for me. My trainer, Mindy Dillon, has really helped me my first few weeks here. If you've been here for 2 years, like, yeah, man, what helped me do well is I just stay on a good schedule. I've got great training. I've got great support. The products that we sell are economy proof. I just feel very passionate about what I do. I love what I do. My sister, one of my sisters passed away from cancer. So I got that chip on my shoulder that I want to get as many people protected as possible. That's why I've done well here. And then the last thing you talk about in the introduction is where you are headed for the future. Where you are headed for the future and what you're excited about. So I've only been here for 2 months, man. And I'm going to be a field director here pretty soon. I'm growing my team. I've already got 2 raises. I'm already at, I've already got over 50 families protected, over 50,000 premium produced in my first 2 months. And I've already got my 2nd raise. And I'm going to hit field director and get my 3rd raise here pretty soon. Right. I'm excited about that. And then by the end of the year, I'm going to be market director. By the end of or by the middle of the year 2023, about 2 quarters away, I'm going to hit market director. Right. Tell them, where you're going to head. I'm going to go for regional director over the next year, whatever it may be. Tell them where you're headed and what you're excited about for the future. All right, guys. So we got one little last part left. I'm going to pause right there if there's any questions or comments so far.
Good morning, everyone. This is Leslie Young. I have a question about people who are licensed versus non-licensed. I know a lot of testimonies were that they're working in other construction, other areas. So if you run across somebody that's not licensed, I know the conversation probably stays the same, but what is the difference between somebody who's licensed and non-licensed?
Great question, Leslie. So I would say this. They're already sold insurance before this at a different company. Talk about the same thing, same qualities, which is the culture here. The culture that we have here is why people want to work at Family Heritage and not want to work at Aflac or not want to work at, selling whatever Medicare supplements. We have a very tight-knit culture. Number 2 thing, and this is even if you're talking to people who were teachers, it's kind of similar conversation. Number 2 thing is the products. You definitely talk about the products. We're the only very few supplemental insurance companies. Guys, we have the best supplemental insurance on the market. We crush Aflac in there. So the products that we sell is the top in the market for what we sell. Mm-hmm. For what we sell the top product in the market. So that's what you can talk about licensed agents with. Just show them the policy. And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is way better than what I've been selling. If I can do well over here, imagine selling a product that's twice as good, Mm-hmm. And also number 3 is just the pay. Talk about, the pay here is awesome as well. And that's why, it doesn't matter if you come from a different insurance company. You guys, we have 5-year vesting. Like, that's insanely awesome. Like most, I have a lot of buddies that have sold insurance to other companies. When they leave that insurance company, guess what? They don't get paid anything off their clients forever. Like, they only get paid renewals while they actually work there. Here, 5 years in, you can retire. One of my good friends, Rob Alcoma, worked here for 11 years. He retired out to Denver, Colorado last year, and he will never have to work again the rest of his life after working here for 11 years. But guess what? If he worked for other companies and he left after 11 years, he would still be having to work because he wouldn't have been able to keep his renewal income. Or after, a few years, they would have cut it down in half. We don't do that here. You got to keep everything that you built for eternity. And if you pass away, those renewals go to your family. That's sexy, guys. Like, that's powerful, right? So that's why Peter Ferre, the guy who recruited Van Davenport, Peter Ferre retired over a decade ago. Peter Ferre still makes over $1 million a year, and he's been retired for 10 years, and that's off renewal income. But guess what? If Peter Ferre would have worked at a different insurance company, he wouldn't be doing that. He would still be working somewhere else, having to make an income. But he doesn't have to work ever again because the way this is set up. So be excited about the opportunity you guys chose. You guys literally chose the best opportunity in America. So let's not squander that. So let's take advantage while we still can. Just like if you get drafted in the NFL, don't squander your opportunity. You only get one chance in the NFL. If you mess up, you're out. Here, do not mess up your opportunity. Take advantage of it, while you still can, right? So that's a great question, Leslie. Hopefully that answers your question for you. Let's cover the last little part. It's already 8:33. The last part is committing them to a career spotlight, that conversation, what it sounds. So when you send out a career spotlight to somebody, what you say to them definitely will increase the chances of you getting them to watch the full video and submitting the application questionnaire. Remember, when you get somebody either from the field or from your personal network or whatever it may be to watch a video and they submit the questionnaire, you're going to get $50 cash. It doesn't matter if they're hired or not. You're going to get $50 per recruit automatically, right? So now I will say this, if they're a 5-star recruit, if this is like a straight stud, get me or Van Davenport to talk to that person and we'll set them up for an interview for you. You'll still get credit for it. You'll still get, $50 if they submit a questionnaire. But if they're on your chicken list, they make your knees wobble because you're so nervous to talk to them, get me to talk to them, get Van. That's exactly what that's why we're agency owners. Or get your regional director, get Brad Phillips, get Todd, they can do that too. But guys, get somebody, if you feel like that person's better than you, get us to have that conversation and to say, hey, my agency owner, Van's going to be, he's been here for 21 years, super successful. His time's very valuable, but he's going to reach out to you, talk for about 10 minutes and talk about the opportunity. Okay. So, he's very high up in the company. Make sure you take his call whenever he calls you and have that conversation with him. So if they're that kind of candidate, a 5-star, tee it off to your agency owner or your market or regional director. Okay. But this is what you say to actually get them to watch the spotlight. So yeah. So Brad, I'm going to go ahead and set you up with the first part of our interview process. And this is after the introduction, after they said, yeah, I definitely want to get more information. So Brad, I'm going to set you up with the first part of our interview process, which is called a career spotlight. It's a video that explains, who we are, what we do, and what we're looking for. I actually watched the exact same video when I was hired. And my leader, Kyle or Van, is the one that runs that. And you'll see other people on our team and, and who we work with around here. It's about 40 minutes long. And when you get done with it, if you want, this is a very critical line. When you get done with it, if you want to be considered for a position, fill out the application questionnaire at the end. So it's about 40 minutes long. And when you get done with the video, if you want to be considered for a position, fill out the application questionnaire at the end. So I'm going to text you a link for it, but I'm also going to email it to you because I prefer you to watch this on your computer. What's your email? Great. And get their phone number if you don't already have their phone number. And this last little part here on getting them to commit to a certain time is extremely important. So great, Brad. Now you can watch this video anytime. It is time sensitive. Okay, but you can watch it anytime. You can watch it later today. You watch it tomorrow morning, or you can even watch it right now if you got 45 minutes. But what time would work good for you? What time would work for you? Let them respond. Oh, I'm actually free right now, or I'm free tomorrow morning. Perfect. Would you prefer tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., or 9 a.m.? Which would you prefer? Let's do 8 a.m. Great. So Brad, I'm going to go ahead and send this over to you. And just make sure that you're in a quiet setting. You can take some good detailed notes as it's very in depth, depth information in the video, lots of details. And remember, when you get done with the video, to fill out the application questionnaire at the end and submit it if you want to be considered for another interview. Okay. And once you submit that, my leader, Kyle, will be reaching out to you to schedule other interviews with you after that. He's awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna text you a link for it, but I'm also going to email it over to you right now. And you have to watch it tomorrow at 8 a.m. Sound good? Perfect. And guys, that's how you get them to commit to watching it at a certain time. You're going to have a much higher chance of. It's just like setting an appointment. If you set up an appointment in a business, we'll just stop by tomorrow and catch up with you. You're going to stop by tomorrow, and they're going to be busy. But if you have like an exact appointment, hey, I'm going to be here tomorrow to sit down with you. at 9 a.m. I'm going to put that on my calendar right now. Can you go ahead and put that on your calendar as well? Because I'm a man of my word. I do exactly what I say I'm going to do. I will be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And you get that prospect to put on their business card that you'll be there at 9 a.m. and they put that on their calendar. That appointment that you set up today is going to come to fruition 10 times more frequently than if you just say, yeah, I'll stop back by tomorrow around lunch or sometime tomorrow in the morning. You're probably just going to be wasting your time going to appointments. Same thing in the recruiting business. You got to get people to commit to a certain exact time, especially right now in 2022. People get distracted so easily nowadays. So you have to get them to commit to a certain time, right? So, all right, guys, any questions or comments on that?